And we're live. Welcome to the Digital Speakeasy Holiday Extravaganza. So we've been doing this for, what has it been, 10 months, 10 years now? We've been hanging out digitally on the internet because we've been locked down. So we've got Jeremy hanging out in Connecticut. Jeremy, how you doing?
Oh, very good. Thank you so much.
We've got Ernie E. Elf. Where are you coming from, Ernie?
Straight from the Nabisco factory in Chicago.
Oh, fantastic. Right from the Nabisco factory. Lacey, bringing it from Ohio. How are you?
I'm lovely.
Always. Evan, how you doing? Down in Nashville?
Doing very well. Enjoying the spirit.
Our digital director is Thomas Moriello, somewhere in New York.
Mr. Tommy Moriello, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, my Aunt Clara made this for me, and I'm a little embarrassed.
Perfect fit.
Little embarrassed, but she told me I had to wear it, so here I am.
I just want to see what the rest of it looks like. How many tails are on it?
What? No, there's gloves. Yeah, there's little shoe things I didn't put on, and I'm a little too broad in the back, so it doesn't really fit.
I hardly noticed that anything wasn't there because your back was so pink and hairy.
That's fantastic.
Is your aunt actually at the house now? Because you're only supposed to wear it when she comes over, right?
She's knitting next year's already, so she already went home and she's starting to. There's a lot of thread that goes into fitting me, so it's a year-round thing for her.
Miles of
I'm not going to be able to sit here for the next hour.
That's fantastic. That really gets me in the holiday spirit. Whatever that is, it's fantastic. You're beautiful just the way you are. Thank you, Aunt Clara, for giving us all the gift of that. So we've been doing this for whatever it's been, 8 months, 10 months, the last 12 years that we've all been in lockdown. This is your merry band of Digital Speakeasy all-stars from all across the country, hanging out, having a chat, talking about the holidays, and trying to raise a bit of money for World Central Kitchen. So we're close to our goal, right? We're about $400 away that we're still trying to get.
I think it's less than $400. I think we're less than $400 away.
Kid, I'm glad you checked so that we can get the math right. If you're at home, you're watching this, and you got a couple bucks, click the link in our bio, give a couple bucks to World Central Kitchen because it's all getting double matched. So if we hit our goal of 5K, then they'll get 15. So every dollar you spend turns into 3. They're doing great work, especially for, again, we got another lockdown. Folks in the restaurant industry are getting hit real hard. And the good people led by Chef Jose Andres are really helping folks out on both sides of it. Check out our link tree. Give to World Central Kitchen if you can, but we've got a special guest. Very special guest all the way from the North Pole. So Tommy, kick the rest of us out of here because Jeremy and Santa are about to have a spirited conversation. So cheers.
Wow. I mean, I'm just so genuinely, listen, you've known me my whole life and I've known you pretty much my whole life, but I've never had such an intimate conversation with you. Other than, first of all, do you need an introduction?
I think everyone recognizes me, I hope.
You're maybe more recognizable than Muhammad Ali, maybe?
No, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty universal. I know they were trying to market me in China, but they got the whole message confused. And they, instead of having a happy Santa Claus, they had a little tiny Santa Claus on a cross. And it didn't really market too well.
Oh my!
By the way,
I mean, if that's true, then there's something to that somewhere.
I was trying to get one there.
I have a hard time imagining one of those on someone's lawn during the holidays. If we want to win anything.
So, in fact, this suit comes from China.
Oh, okay. Well, they do good work.
When I started working at the mansions in Newport, which is where I do most of my work this time of year. I used to do it this time of the year. Of course, I'm laid off this year, but they provided me a suit that looked like this, but I wanted to have one for myself so I could do like things like this. And they're very expensive. So my sister-in-law, was a flight attendant, was flying to China. So she went to China and got a little Chinese seamstress. And she had a great name. Her name was Elizabeth Taylor.
Was that actually her name, or did
that was the email I went by, Elizabeth Taylor. So we corresponded. We agreed on the price. She says, "Send me your measurements." So I sent all my measurements out. Then a few hours later, I got a message back from Elizabeth. She's saying, "Are those centimeters or inches?"
Ooh.
And I said, "Those are inches." And she said, "Oh, you're a big man. I have to add some money to that suit."
Wow. So it's a custom suit. Elves didn't make it, but Liz Taylor did.
Custom suits made by Elizabeth Taylor, Chinese seamstress.
I absolutely love that. And what brought you to wanting to bring so much joy to people around the holidays? It's one of those things. I think no matter how old you are, and I have young children, so we're in the thick of Santa right now, but I get excited if it's mid-year and we see somebody with a big old beard. I'm sure this happens to you. It's August and you're at Stop and Shop and you've got your beard. Somebody goes like, "Santa."
There he is. There's Santa. So.
And they get so excited. What is it? What brought you to wanting to give back in that way?
Oh, okay. Well, I started. I work. My retirement job was a tour guide on the boat in Newport Harbor, and every winter, this Friday after Thanksgiving, they have a parade of lights, and I would dress up in a suit, not as nice as this, and be on the bow of the boat, and we'd go along the harbor, and there'd be thousands of kids, and we'd wave, and it was really fun. I would, really get into the crowds and the children, but it was a distance. And, we'd go by the hotels, and I'd look up, and I had a bullhorn, and I tell people up in the 4th floor room, we close the blinds, and you could communicate with the crowds a little bit, but I enjoyed that. And then I was recruited by the mansions in Newport, the Newport mansions, to play Santa Claus there 3 Sundays in December. And
it's got to be a real production at the mansions for people who might watch and don't know what they are. They're a stretch of, I don't know how many, 10?
They have 3 big mansions. I would be in the 3, take turns each week on a different mansion. They have about 10 mansions, yes.
And these were once owned by one of them by the Vanderbilts, and these extremely prestigious families in Newport, Rhode Island, and they just don't make them like this anymore. They are really
right.
They're like little palaces from, I would guess, the mid 1800s,
late 1800s,
late
1800s.
And so during the holidays, I mean, they're spectacular and beautiful all year round, but during the holidays, they must really just
they have like 50-foot ceilings and in the main hall, and I would come down the big stairway, and there'd be hundreds of little kids there cheering.
That Alexander the Great behind you, that big painting there.
Right,
so and the kids cheer, and is it one's just on Sundays that they do it?
Just on Sundays.
Wow. And how many kids on any given Sunday do you meet?
I never got a full count, but it was constant. I never had a break for 3 over 3 hours that I sat down there.
3 hours.
Big gilded chairs. And
what's the average time a kid will spend on your lap?
We didn't rush them off. They could sit in my lap and tell me what they wanted, and the families would take pictures. In the last couple of years, they had a professional photographer there who would take a picture and send the picture to the kids. They could get like a free photo. If they wanted to have more, they could buy them that way. But I would say less than 5 minutes.
That's that's a long time because I when I was a kid, I actually played Santa at my family's store, right? And we had a Christmas tree shop in Connecticut, and I was the kid that they said let Jeremy be Santa, and we would do a whole, probably ragtag chair and tons of poinsettias, and we'd have a line of kids, and then all day long we'd advertise in the newspaper if you wanted to come see Santa, Santa would be there on 12 to 3 or something, and I would put on the suit, and the kids would come and sit on my lap, and I always noticed they draw me pictures. It was wonderful.
Yeah, you get the notes.
Oh, the notes, and just the joy when they'd see you. So I remember the parents bringing the kids in, and say it was dead. There was nobody in there for a little while. And then all of a sudden, a few kids would come in, and the parents would lean, there's Santa. And the kid would just look around and spot me and just be like, yes. And just the joy that beamed off of their faces. And I found, the boys would lose it. They couldn't handle it. The pressure would get to them. This would happen on average. More boys would start crying than the girls would come in and just, all right, I want this, I want this, I want this. We're good to go, right, Santa? And they'd hop off the lap and go. And so for you, what were some of the consistencies that you saw and the differences between the kids, or do boys, is there a toy that is like the hot toy that year that all of a sudden you start to ring bells in your head thinking, wow, I guess that new dinosaur is the thing this year because half the kids wanted it.
The most popular over the years, the most popular things have been American Girl dolls, Legos, and various, the latest video games.
The expensive stuff.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, the clientele there was a little bit.
Oh, sure. The breakers. Yeah. What were the things? Was there ever anything that really stood out as being, wow, that was a really odd request? This kid wants just cheeseburgers. That's a little weird. Or anything that would sort of pop up as being odd.
Well, only one time a kid just said, "I just want money for Christmas."
Give it to you straight.
I said, "No problem." I said, "How much do you want?" I give yen. Yen. That's my currency, yen. So he changed his mind after that.
Were there any horror stories as far as mean kids?
I have two good stories that I like to tell. The best, my best experience was one Sunday. Of course, people would always get dressed up because they were taking pictures for Christmas cards, and they were really, everyone looked really good, and the mansions looked beautiful. This mother and her son came in. She was all dressed in black, and she was very tall and very attractive. And her son, who was about 8 years old, was all dressed up like little Mr. Fauntleroy there. And
I actually know
he was a great Victorian outfit. So he had his little camera with him. At that time, kids had their little digital cameras before they had iPhones. So he sat in my lap, and Mom takes a few shots, and then they leave. I get a few more kids, and then he comes back, and he said, "Santa, do you take pictures of grown-ups, adults?" I says, "Yeah, I do." He says, "Can I have my mom sit in your lap?" And I was happy about that. So he brings his mom over, and she sits in my lap, and she's enjoying it too. And he's got his little camera, and he's out there taking pictures of me. It's me and his mom. And I said to her, "What would you like for Christmas?" And she leans over and she whispers in my ears, "I want to be able to adopt him this year."
Oh,
Isn't that a nice story?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, poor Santa had a little tear in his eye.
Wow, that's so sweet.
And
that's so
of course, I've been very popular. When I get a lot of kids come back year after year. And a couple of years ago, this kid, he looked like Sheldon on the TV show.
Yeah.
Sure. The second year, and I remember him from the first year because he looked just like Sheldon. And I said, "How are you this year?" He says, "Hi, Santa. You remember me?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "You know what you got me for Christmas?" I said, "To refresh my memory a little bit." He says, "That electric scooter." and it was awful. I took it out, and I was in the park trying out my electric scooter, and I lost control,
Oh.
and I hit a rock.
Oh.
I broke 3 ribs.
Oh.
And I was in the hospital for a whole week. I missed so much school that kept me back.
My God.
And I didn't have a good year. Please don't bring me anything like that this year.
You never think about Santa being held accountable for all
No.
the cruddy made toys that the kid might get. So the elves really mess this one up, Santa. You know, next year I want you to do a better job.
Yeah, so those are my 2 favorite stories.
That's absolutely incredible, Santa. I for Christmas this year want a first pressing of Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys.
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
That would be, but it's got to be a first pressing. I don't know if the elves could go back in time.
Very difficult to find.
But other than that, I just want to thank you so tremendously for your time, not just tonight, but you're very busy this time of year. So we will open it up to the rest of the group. Everybody, let's bring everybody back and say thank you, Santa. That was unbelievable.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Santa.
Thank you, Santa.
Bye.
All right.
All right. Does anybody have one last request for Santa while he's still here? Tommy, I know you're leaving him up there because you want to get something in.
I was posting my question. How good of a boy or girl does one have to be to get a Ruby Red Ryder Carbine Action 200 shot range model air rifle with a compass stock?
Just be yourself.
Okay. I've been working on that.
Okay.
I thought the "you'll shoot your eye out" kid was supposed to be.
Is Buddy doing okay? Buddy the elf?
Oh, yeah.
Is he still up there? All right.
Yes, yeah. I have all those. A lot of my elves on the shelves, and they're all out there. And I ask the kids which one is theirs, and they tell me all about the elf on the shelf. That's really good.
I love it.
They help a lot.
Well, thank you again, Santa.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
That has got me thinking that generally around this time of year, I like to have a cocktail, especially around this time of the afternoon, evening. So, Evan, I see you got something to sip on.
Santa likes reindeer sweat.
A little reindeer sweat.
Fermented reindeer sweat. It's a really good drink.
Wow. Lacey, do you have anything for fermented reindeer sweat? Take us to the cocktail portion of the evening.
Unaware of this reindeer sweat, but I do think that this year Santa deserves whiskey and not just milk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, leave a little bit out for me, but
leave a little bit of whiskey on the table. I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
So Santa, this one's for you. This is kind of like milk with a little bit of whiskey in it.
Yeah, so sounds good. I'm all for that. I love good scotch.
You do? Because that's what I have.
Oh, great.
Are you guys ready for this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let her rip.
So, like I said, Santa deserves a little kick in his milk. So let's give him something good. So this one is for Santa. I'm going to take a little mug and, sticking with that Italian tradition, I'm going to do Nutella. I'm going to put it right around the rim of the glass. All right. I have some mini chips here. So we're going to do about 3 bar spoons of mini chips. I have some steamed milk that I've been keeping ready. So we're going to make a little hot chocolate here. So I have about 5 ounces of steamed milk. Give that a little stir so that chocolate melts. All right. Next, Santa requested some good scotch. So I'm going to give Santa my favorite scotch, Highland Park 12. I'm going to do 1.5 ounces because Santa needs it. Add that in. Then I'm going to give Santa one of my favorites. I'm going to add a little Nocino. So if you don't know what Nocino is, it's a black walnut liqueur. This is actually a local brand out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. All right. Now, I'm not a big whipped cream fan, but I am going to top this with a little bit of cocoa powder. There we go. Should have used a clear glass so you could see this, but
Nice.
the rim doesn't look as pretty, but the Nutella with the scotch and the Nocino, it's very, very good. So Santa, I hope you enjoy this and it gets you through the rest of your Christmas this year.
Very nice.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to stopping at your house.
I got all the good scotch. Come on by.
I might be there all night.
Just bring me some Scotch whiskey books and I'll trade you.
Okay.
That's what's on my list.
Cheers.
Thank you, Lacey.
So is it kind of sweet and smoky, like the nice dark notes of the chocolate? And
Yes. So it's chocolate notes. Then you get that the Nutella just really hits it off, you know.
all of that.
But you get a little hint of that Nocino. And this has been like a go-to. Hot chocolate on Christmas Eve was kind of like what me and my dad always did. So it's nice to kind of keep that going.
Nice.
It's very nice.
Did you pre-test this, or is this the first go?
I pre-tested it. I just didn't put the Nutella in it the last time, and I'm very glad that I made that addition.
Definitely go for the Nutella.
Well,
We've got
I've done it that way in a cappuccino before, and I was like, you know what? Let's give that a try, and it worked out. I'm not disappointed.
fantastic work. We've got our own visitor from the Great Nabisco Factory in Chicago here as well. Ernie, how we doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Are you here?
And I love
You're
the hot
muted.
chocolate. Oh, am I muted?
Oh, he's back.
Hang on.
I hear him. Yeah.
Do you hear me, Tommy?
Yeah, I think I hear
Yeah,
you.
No, we
You got-
can hear you now.
All right.
I think there was a lag. Yeah.
So I from the south side, the Nabisco factory. We're here, and we got another little drink for you guys. In our family, it's always been a tradition to go with the French toast for all the holiday meals. But this time, we're going to start off with a drink that's great because you can always turn the leftovers into French toast. So I'm going to bring this down. What I'm going to do.
Is this the Elf family tradition?
The Elf family tradition. Here's our little disclaimer. All right. So you can see where we're going.
Yeah.
All right. So first off, we're going to make a little bit of eggnog. Now we're going to make the eggnog safe for all the elves. You can always choose to have an adult version of the eggnog, but this will be a safe eggnog. So first I separated 4 eggs. And there's the yolks. Going to add some sugar. 1/3 of a cup of sugar. Get this working. Now, I believe I have this set up so you guys should not hear the mixer too loud. Is that correct?
Yeah, seems okay.
Good. Kind of like directional microphones. All right, so I get that going until it's nice and get the sugar incorporated and those yolks turn nice and yellow. It's shaking my table a little bit there. All right. Now, personally, my recipe calls for 1 cup of heavy whipping cream and 2 cups of milk. Now, if you make your nog a little bit thicker, you can go with more heavy whipping cream, or you can cut that down, but you want to have 3/4 of a cup of liquid in there. We'll get that working. Get that nice incorporated.
Oh, more cream for sure.
More cream. All right. Now we're going to get, now typically you're going to add that whiskey or that rum in, and what you're looking for is a particular flavor, and that flavor is vanilla. So since we're going to do a non-alc eggnog, I'm going to go ahead and add this vanilla. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon and a half to make up for my lack of whiskey or rum in here. Get that going again for a second. Now, I may or may not have cheated a little bit, and I did my egg whites ahead of time, but the key is you want to whip the egg whites separately. So I saved the egg whites from those 4 yolks, and we're going to put them in on low here with the egg whites. All right. That is it. Lift that out. I've got my white Christmas goblet. And for the garnish, a little bit of fresh grated nutmeg. And there we go.
Yum. That looks so good. Who knew it was so easy to make your
Consuming
own?
raw or undercooked meats, poultry, seafood, shellfish, or eggs may increase your risk of foodborne illness.
So definitely don't put any shellfish in there.
That's what the alcohol is for.
Mr.
Oh
Mr.
my
Elf, if you
God,
did
that
want to
looks so
spice
good.
this up, since we're leaving Santa a little pour of whiskey on the table this year next to the cookies, what would you put in it?
So I will tell you, I will put in the official Edrington holiday spirit of choice for this year, Brugal 1888.
Nice.
And for this size portion, I've got about 6
You like to
ounces.
kick it to the
I'm going to go about 3/4 of an ounce of Brugal 1888 in there. Those
That's for
sherry
the personal side. You can add it a minute if you've got a bowl that everybody's sharing. You can still have some for the kids.
make the big punch bowl that everybody can dip into, and then let the adults, if they would so choose to indulge.
And this is pre-COVID, right? So when you're I was saying earlier, I had a couple of people over, and we had to set some guidelines before we even had people over. And even I said, do we do food that's shared, or do we do separate plates, or in the house? Are you that idea that we're going to throw it all into a bowl and drink it up? I think you got to individually serve it this year, right?
I think so, but one thing to keep in mind, right? So this is a decent sized batch, and even if you've got a family where it's going to be you and the wife and some kids, right? You might not go through all this eggnog, but if you look at what the ingredients are, you save the eggnog, you throw it in the fridge. The next morning, you dip in some nice brioche or cinnamon raisin bread.
Brilliant.
So French toast for the kids in the morning.
Oh, I'm so on that this year. That's such a good idea.
It's a no-bake custard. It's delicious.
The alcohol will cook off. It'll be fine.
Exactly. Well, but that's the thing, Evan. We're making it. We're adding the alcohol in the minute, so you got your French toast ready to go.
French toast with a little bit of bourbon or some aged rum would taste great.
Kids are very hyper on Christmas Day. Just a little subtle. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not a bad idea.
So, Ernie, I have one question before we move off of this. The one question that we're all dying to know, which has nothing to do with the eggnog. You got to tell us about the costume. How'd you get that? How'd you get the elf suit?
So the family wanted to do some, Christmas things for the morning tradition, and I, of course, waited till last second. And Target pretty much had. I was going for the Aunt Clara costume, but they did not have one available, so I ended up with Elf.
I'm so happy that happened.
Yeah.
That would have been embarrassing.
That would have been truly, truly embarrassing. How awkward.
So we're on about year 3 of Elf.
Nice.
Do you usually do a whole production? Or I was figuring it's just because you couldn't grow a big white beard.
No, it's the this we do every this is my official Christmas morning wear.
Well, you have kids, right? Do they expect the elf thing now? And is there like did you create a mythos around your being of elf?
We've got a couple traditions. So the first tradition, it started when my son was about a year old. He's just a little bit over a year old, and that's that Santa. This tradition's been going on it'll be 10 years this year. Santa doesn't drink milk. He needs something to warm himself up a little bit more. So with Santa's cookies, we have a Glencairn of some spirit of choice, which is usually whiskey that gets set out for Santa's cookies. And even my daughter, who's 5, has known since she's been about 3, to my mother's horror probably, that Santa doesn't get milk and cookies. Santa gets a Glencairn of whiskey and cookies.
A sherry oak aged whiskey tastes very good with a cookie.
Absolutely,
it really does.
Actual.
Yeah. And the second tradition is French toast. I think I mentioned this earlier. So we do brioche French toast for the kids' birthdays, for Thanksgiving morning, for Christmas morning, New Year's morning, all the big holiday mornings or birthdays, they get brioche French toast. And then my wife has a little Mrs. Claus outfit, and I got my onesie, and I got my elf onesie, and that's what we wear on Christmas morning.
Very cute.
No Santa. It's just Mrs. Claus and the elf who apparently stole Santa's wife.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any breakfast the next day that they've always gone to?
We do, yeah. We do a traditional, and it's a big thing in our house. We only do it at Christmas. Monkey bread. So like a homemade monkey bread, and we've been doing it my whole life, and it gets better and better every year. It's so good.
Nice.
What about you?
We would always do like a breakfast casserole, which is just like you take like fresh sausage and cheese and egg, but you have to have bread that's like a couple days old. And then you like mix all this stuff up in a big Pyrex dish. And you do it the night before, where you cut up all the bread into little squares and you basically let it like soak up all the like egg.
Evan, there's a lot of Italians on this show, and that is called a strata.
But when you make it with fresh country sausage, I don't believe there's any Italians who will own it at that point in time.
Strata, y'all. Well, someone invented country sausage, and I believe it.
Who's got that strata? The strata ready yet?
The strata.
Come on, I'm hungry. I need some strata.
Wow, you got that strata.
So we always just call it basically like a Christmas breakfast casserole.
I love it.
Delicious.
So Tommy, you've been called out. You said there are many Italians on the show. Give us the dish on the strata.
So that's Jeremy. I don't know anything about a strata.
It's exactly what Evan described. Yeah.
Well, I was fishing for a segue because we were going to go to talk about the Italian Christmas traditions.
Strata with fish is not good.
Don't do the fish strata.
No.
I was intrigued by it. Yeah, I never got up on the strata deal.
Oh, tonight for the first time.
I've been out-cuisine by Jeremy.
Is there a shame upon your house now?
I might get whacked if I go to the old neighborhood now. Thanks, guys. Thanks for risking my life for going back home to Bensonhurst this holiday season.
What do you mean you don't know what a strata is? What's wrong with you?
What's the matter with you, huh?
I finally started watching The Sopranos. I just saw the episode where he gets real upset because they go to the fake Starbucks, and he's like,
"That's the best.
I can't believe they did this to us."
Oh, and he steals the cup. Yeah,
he steals the espresso press.
So good.
Fun fact: The Sopranos came out when I was fairly young, and watching that show, I really thought that I was in the mob. I related to that show way too much. I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, too much is going on here. But love it.
Coming out. The prequel to The Sopranos is coming out next year.
Yeah, they filmed out in Westchester, actually. They filmed at Rye Beach. It's Tales of New Jersey or Tales in Newark or something like that. And Gandolfini's son is playing Gandolfini's character.
Yeah.
I like, how we've gone from Christmas to The Sopranos just because there are Italians on the show. Thank you.
That is Christmas.
He did the. Well, sorry.
We said there's a beautiful breakfast called the strata in Italian. Oh yeah, have you ever seen The Sopranos? I'm telling you, that's a heck of a show.
Steals the coffee. That's a segue, my friend.
There's a segue right there. There's a segue in here somewhere. We're gonna find it. But Tommy, this is your first Christmas as a daddy. Congratulations. You're a girl dad now.
Yeah.
What's changed? What's staying the same?
Anything that is remotely Christmas makes me cry. It's like I've never been more sensitive in my life. Oh, just got a little Christmas outfit, and I'm like in tears. Like it's crazy. So sensitivity level is skyrocketed. That's fun. But it's awesome, man. It's awesome that we have the fireplace now is set up. We have Harlan, Ray, Ashley, and Tommy. And I got yelled at because I didn't get Roxy one. Sorry, Rox. I know you don't watch the Digital Speakeasy. That's my dog. But no, it's cool, man. The holidays season just means that much more. And obviously she's 4 months old. She's not going to understand what's going on. It's just going to be really loud and really bright. But it's fun to.
It's about you. You watching her. That's it. It's what Christmas is all about. So she doesn't get it, but you guys get it, and that's what's so great about it.
And the best. I wanted to open this up a little bit to those of you who are parents, because I heard this thing, and since we had special guest Santa here, like, is this a thing now that you're a father? Have you like started premeditating how you're going to sculpt the lore and the mythos of the season? Are you gonna do you start at year one, the first time you're a dad, and you're like, I'm gonna start thinking that I'm gonna start doing this thing because I'm gonna have to be Santa from now on?
I'm literally Santa in my house. I love it. And we go to town. We get things for months and months and months. I'm whispering because my kid's in the next room and I don't want him to. Dad, did you say you were Santa? No. But yeah, all of those things, your breakfasts, your everything that you loved about Christmas, you try your best to keep going. And the things that stunk about Christmas, like maybe too many pairs of socks, throw those out the window.
So, I went the opposite. I make sure that they get a pair of socks every year so that they know their gifts.
Yeah, they carry on the sock Schadenfreude. Love it.
It is cool to set up, like Sari was talking about his traditions. Jeremy has, I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to do. And we talked about that on Thanksgiving too, like what tradition we're going to set up. And I said, okay, let's watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So that's what we're going to try to do, and Christmas Eve for me was always about watching A Christmas Story for as long as you possibly could. And later on when I was old enough
to do the 24 hours of Christmas Story, they don't do it anymore. Yeah, it was great.
No, they still do it.
They still do it. I just bought the DVD and I was like, I'll just watch it.
It's still on TNT. And even though that I own it in several different ways, whether it be Amazon Prime, iTunes, and I own the DVD, I probably have a VHS somewhere, still have that on. And my buddies and I used to play poker the night before. I'm still wearing my pink gloves. Used to play poker the night before and just crush wine and have a blast watching A Christmas Story. So can't wait for her to understand that. Can't wait. I'm a movie guy, as you guys know. So I can't wait to show her Elf, Miracle on 34th Street, Scrooge, which is the most underrated Christmas movie of all time. Yeah. Obviously, Christmas Vacation, Happiest Bunch of Assholes. But I can't wait to show her all these movies. I can't wait for her eyes, like Jeremy said, like when the kid walks in, they see Santa and their eyes light up. I can't wait for that. That is so cool. I'm pumped to live vicariously through my child.
Thing is insane, dude. It's just a whole different level of joy on Christmas morning.
Yeah. I'm pumped. So that, I mean, it's you get to feel like a kid again. You get to remember all the awesome Christmases that you had when you were younger, and then put that onto and give that to your child. So
I have a hard time imagining, Tommy, that you have a hard time feeling like a kid again.
This is a good point. This is a good point.
It's like, did you ever stop feeling like a kid? I'm not looking forward to that day where I'm like, oh, grown up Tommy, this is
yeah. I don't think that's ever happening. Sorry, Ash. I know that you've been waiting for it, but yeah. I guess smaller, and that doesn't count anyway. It was always big. Yeah, just younger then. That works. That's a good word. Younger.
Just sprinkling a bit more fuel on that particular fire. It's beautiful. Your enthusiasm is palpable. I love to see it. God bless you. Congratulations on the new addition to your family and on starting this new now holiday chapter of fatherhood. But you gotta take us. I know you said you wanted to dish on the Feast of the Seven Fishes, so we got to get there too.
So that is hands down my favorite part of Christmas. And oddly enough, last year on Christmas Eve, Ashley and I got our entire family scratch offs and told them that we were doing this as a family. And that's how we announced that we were expecting. So we announced that Harlan was coming on Christmas Eve last year with everyone doing scratch offs, which was a lot of fun. So now this year, Harlan,
they fixed scratch offs with the babies on them.
Yes. And then it was a fixed scratch off and it said, you win, go to the next one, and said, we're having a baby.
That's beautiful. I kind of like the idea, though, that you were like, hey, we're having a baby. They're like, oh my God, I won $5. I got 10 over here. Hey, I said we're having a baby, guys.
I'm posting the video of it, and you'll see my brother starts going nuts, and my dad just throws a scratch off because he thought he lost. Because I only said one person was winning, so that's like, I didn't win. He didn't even look. He scratched it off.
I'm out of here.
But yeah, so we do the Feast of the Seven Fishes. So it's Italian tradition. People say that it stems back from Rome. There's all different ways to go about it. The hours that you were waiting for people to bring gifts to Jesus. Italians and Catholics abstaining from meat during Christmas Eve, so they're only focusing on fish. 7 being the number of hours, like I said, but it's honestly it's amazing. And we eat so much food and so much fish. And my brother Anthony and my brother Angelo, I was trying to get my brother Anthony on, but he's a finance bro and they're still doing their things and being forced to go to offices and whatnot. So he couldn't come on. But we start out with shrimp cocktail. We then work our way to all of the fried stuff. So my brother makes baked clams, we have fried calamari, and we have fried shrimp as well. And he still does pan fried shrimp like a lunatic, which is the right way to do it, but it takes a really long time. But we also have my sister-in-law's family, Grace Ann, she and Annette. They do bacala, and they also do zuppa de mussels. So the mussels are my favorite part, and both of them are in red sauce, but the red sauces are completely different. And
tell the guests at home what bacala is.
So bacala it's a salted codfish.
Yeah.
And you could see it still in like old school Italian delis. Like if you go to Alta Ave and you go to Title Brothers, they still have the bacala all salted and ready to go right underneath where all the cured meats is. And it was basically people that came here from Southern Italy didn't have a lot of money. And it was one of the things that they had to eat and the only thing that they could afford. And it pretty much cured the bacala by salting it, and it stayed longer. And it's going back to the tradition of people back in the day when they got to New York from Italy, of not being able to afford to eat the way that we're going to eat on Christmas Eve.
It's one of those things that like the old timers eat, but the kids are like, I'll wait for the mussels.
So if we did it the traditional way, I don't think even the old timers would eat it. But the way that it's made, and it's made almost like a stew. There's potatoes in it, there's olives in it, and it actually tastes great. And bacala, it's not the best fish, if you're eating it in the traditional sense. But the way that it's done in our house, like I said, it's done in a red sauce with olives and with I just said potatoes, and it comes out really good. I prefer the mussels. There's like 15,000 cloves of garlic in the mussels, and that is by far the highlight of the evening for me. Until you get to the third red sauce of the evening, because I mean that's just what we do. So the first two are for bread.
It's the feast of the 3 red sauces, really.
But it's sad this year though, because it's normally the feast of the 7 fishes, but it has to get cut down to 5 because of Cuomo. So he's making us go to 5. Hey,
Yeah, bang. Who's got the gong?
But no, it's delicious. And my brother Anthony does this, and he does a full fish sauce. So with the bakla and with the mussels, we're dipping bread in that, obviously, because enough vowels in your last name just means carbohydrates. And he goes first with clams, and you put the clams into the can of sauce. The sauce cooks for about 2 hours. Then you put the clams until they open. Then you put the lobster in until it starts to simmer up a little bit again. And then you put the shrimp in, wait for the shrimp to go to a boil. And then you put scallops in as well and bring it up to another boil. And then the sauce is done. You drain it out. You take all the fish out. And you really have to keep an eye on it, because with the lobster, you can't overcook it and you can't undercook it. You got to get it right in that sweet spot. So my brother Anthony is just literally over the stove, keeping an eye on everything, making sure it all goes well. And we have 3 or 4 massive bowls that come out to the table. I don't think it's going to be like this year, but normally we had over 20 people in the house for Christmas Eve. And that's a lot of fish going out on Christmas Eve.
What's the bigger spread? Is it the feast or is it the Thanksgiving antipasti? What's near and dear to your heart?
7 fish. The 7 fishes just destroys the antipasti. The antipasti is nice and fun, but the 7 fishes, I mean, literally, you're talking like 12 courses throughout the day. Antipasti is just the start of Thanksgiving. Like I said, you start out as soon as you walk in, you have the shrimp cocktail, and then from that you go baked clams, fried calamari, and the fried shrimp. The fried shrimp, honestly, is my favorite part. Just fried shrimp and cocktail sauce. It's awesome. The bacalao I'll dabble in. I'll crush the mussels. Ashley's favorite is the mussels. That's what she gets into and what she eats most. But the final sauce, and it's such like a thin sauce, the way he does it. Like the mussel sauce is thicker, as is the bacalao sauce, but the end sauce is just so thin but perfect. And the flavor that comes off of it. But you hate yourself by the end of that meal, because you put a big gulp of pasta in front of you after you've eaten all day, and you just go after those fishes in there.
Well, it sounds spectacular. I hope you get to have at least whatever the COVID version of that is. I hope it's still great.
I think it's going to be a little less, but we're still going to get after it. We're still going to carry on that tradition, and I'm pumped to have Harlan in
This
that
year,
house.
it's just goldfish.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some goldfish.
So
in
we're
the house.
ordering
Feast of
from
the
McDonald's.
goldfish.
We're having McFishes sent to the house, and
Just a bowl of goldfish.
I'm gonna throw a few novenas on it. And how you doing? There it is. But
I prefer the fisherman jig myself.
The feast of the 7 fillet of fishes.
and also it's called a vigil. And when you go to Italy, it's not a feast. So the feast is Christmas. This is supposed to be fasting and not eating meat. So I don't know where Feast of the 7 Fishes got popular, but I even say it. But in the traditional sense, it's a vigil, and it's fasting and absence away from meat. So feast wasn't really the right word for it, because the feast is Christmas, and that's the real feast. So the night before is just Italians being gluttons.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you made that something more than it should be. It should have been like, we're trying to be good and only eat fish and stay away from the big festivals. Like, no, 7 rounds. Yeah, keep it coming. Make it happen.
I got a feast on this absence. All right, come on.
Oh my God.
Why not?
It's hard
Smoke
to
them
get
if you got
full
'em.
off of fish, so that's how much fish can we fit in before I can't eat any more fish? 7 courses. 7. Oh, okay.
Where's the limit? Where does it end?
And it's also the only holiday where nothing from my portfolio comes. It's all wine that day. Christmas Eve will break out the bourbon or the scotch, but Christmas Day, but Christmas Eve is notoriously wine. It's wine all day.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that, Tommy.
Yeah.
What's your wine of choice there, Tommy?
I'm sorry.
What's your wine of choice there for the what are you drinking with the fishies?
Even though I'm WSET certified, I know wine like I know women's field hockey. I am a booze guy. Last year I did make French 75, so that was fun. But they fell on some deaf ears. But my brother goes with reds, so I think he'll break out a special one. Like he'll have like a Brunello or something that'll pull out. A Montepulciano. Nothing too hearty though. You know, there's nothing that's going to overpower the fish. That'll be like later on in the night. But
that's a tough one because you're doing red sauce with fish.
Yeah.
So you would, it's like, how do you pair that? I would definitely go probably fruitier reds myself, bright fruit reds. Not a lot of Italians in that category.
Nothing purple.
I could say Montepulciano di Abruzzo
I think that's the go-to, honestly.
or a Nero. Yeah, I could see it.
Well, that sounds spectacular. I'm jealous. I'm living vicariously through your feast of
I say do it this year. I steal traditions all the time. Steal it. It's awesome.
Or just make paella, one of the two.
Tojo, I'll send you the recipe, man. It's not that hard. I'll send you the recipe.
blow it out. Whatever the laziest version of that is, that's what I want.
That's what it is.
Like
a fisherman stew, just all of it.
Just make paella.
Yeah.
You know, I had great success with getting pre-made dishes for Thanksgiving. So whatever the same version of that is, it might be the 7 fillet of fish at McDonald's. That might be what we end up with. That's all right.
But the McRib's back, so you're playing with fire there.
The McRib is back for a limited time.
I was so psyched when I saw that the other day. I was slammed on the brakes.
It's never going anywhere. Every year it comes back. It's the zombie McRib.
I think the same one that I ate when I was 12 is still in my gut. So you're right.
No, this one's, it's been a while, man. It's been like 5 years since they had it. My buddy Mike and I had to get it this past Saturday. So we were watching, there was boxing on all day Saturday. It was fantastic, along with Army Navy. So we started out a little early in the afternoon, 2:00, popped a little brewski, had a little Highland Park, and a lovely McRib. It was a phenomenal day.
Ain't nothing wrong with a McRib.
Was it as good as you remembered?
Only because when you pair Highland Park 18 with a McRib, it's the perfect pairing. I mean, I don't know if that's on brand, but we should really run with it. Highland Park 18 and McRibs.
Barbecue.
Best spirit in the world.
It's good.
I will say I love Highland Park 18. I've never had a McRib ever.
Good call, Lizzie. Good call.
With this endorsement, how could you not? Anyways, moving on to greener pastures. Evan, when's the last time you had a McRib?
Oof. I think I was like 6. I think I was like, this sounds cool. It wasn't. Turns out no. Because I'm in a place that does a lot of barbecue and a lot of ribs. So that's pretty much, that'd be like, Tommy, if McDonald's was like, hey, we're coming out with Italian bowls.
Yeah.
Like fazoli's.
They were doing in New England
McParmesan.
lobster rolls at McDonald's. Lobster rolls. And it was exactly like that. You drive around and you see it, be like, oh, how dare ye? You know.
Oh, man.
It's like the Shamrock Shake. They're like, no, not in Boston. No.
I thought you said, for a second, matzo balls. The McDonald's is doing matzo balls. With the delay of the audio, I was like,
Kosher.
My goodness.
They're very not kosher. They're just made of chicken, by the way. Just pure.
So, Evan, what's your holiday traditions?
Okay, so mine is I love going other places and seeing other traditions. And like you might have read in like Sweden this week is St. Lucia. My favorite is Icelandic tradition. So Iceland is still very much like Christianity is there, but they still have a mix of sort of these beautiful kind of pre-Christian sort of pagan rituals. They still have a lot of beliefs of like elves and gnomes and all these cool things. So when they blended the two traditions together, it got pretty crazy. So if you go during Yule, so it's basically 26 days out of December, as it starts off, the Yule lads come down out of the Highlands, and they're 13 elves that are the sons of Grilla. And so Grilla has Yola Kataturin, which is quite literally the Christmas cat. Sounds nice, right? No. So Grilla has this giant cat that will come and eat bad children. And then I think they've softened up her image a little bit too. But she used to, the cat would come and take kids and they would put it all in a big pot. But what's funny is when you fly into like the Reykjavik airport during the holidays, they have these giant stand-ups of all these elves, like with these pots and all, these pot stirs and all this. And
wait, is this the plot of the 2019 film Cats?
That's the Broadway play Cats, I believe.
Yeah. Well, but the movie version of it from last year. Is this the one where is this the cat that James Corden plays?
It could be.
Sorry, carry on.
This is a giant black cat that comes out of the Highlands. What's cool is these old pagan traditions also have to deal with the solstice as well, which is December 21st, which is really cool this year because also Jupiter and Saturn will be aligned just right, and it will form this superstar in the sky. So that's how you get behind the comet. It's coming. Don't be afraid, guys. No, but it's really cool because in these old festivals, it was also, you have to remember, it is also the darkest time of the year for them. So when you go up during December, the sun rises at about 10:30. And when I say rises, it is basically a long drawn out sunset that lasts till about 3 in the afternoon. And then you're back into darkness. So this also used to fall with their Festival of Lights. So everybody has candles in the window. And of course, now that there's Christmas lights everywhere, everybody has white Christmas lights. And also because it's so beautiful during that time of the year, everything's snowy pretty much all the time. So you have these white lights kind of peeking through the snow and peeking out of houses. And but the festival is really amazing because also Iceland is, like you were talking about the socks, Iceland is very industrious people. So most of them can knit. There are sheep literally everywhere. They let them, everybody tags their own sheep. There's not a lot of fences. There's not a lot of boundaries. There's not a lot of this. Your sheep can wander wherever. And so in the fall, they will bring in the sheep and shear them, but they'll find them all over the country. And then people will bring them in and you sort of reclaim your own sheep. But a cool Christmas tradition is, if you haven't sheared your sheep and made somebody a pair of socks or a sweater or some new piece of clothing, that's how the cat come and find you. So a big part of their Christmas tradition is on Christmas Eve, everybody needs to get a new piece of clothing that was made by one of their friends or family or relative, or the Christmas cat will get you.
I love it.
The other really cool part is they're exceedingly literate. Like they are, it's a small country, about 397,000, but 1 out of every 7 people publishes a book.
That's insane. That can't be true. No way.
So there is a festival called Jola Bókaflót, which is the book festival. And that is a very traditional gift on Christmas Eve. Everybody gets a book. Like, it's really bad juju if you don't get a book on Christmas Eve.
We went there about a year and a half ago, my wife and I, for our 10-year anniversary. And how is that? We didn't know that. That just makes us like them so much more. That's so great.
So you probably saw in downtown Reykjavik, they have like Christmas shops that basically sort of stay up year round because, when I was actually able to go during Christmas, I went for a birthday of mine a couple of years ago. I was just amazed. It is that old timey sort of European feel Christmas, what you would imagine like America was in like the 50s. Like downtowns with just lights strung everywhere and everybody's out having a good time and everybody's got candles in the window, and kids get they'll get treats in their shoes that are supposed to be left by the Yule lads unless you're bad, and then you'll get like an old potato in your shoes. And but I absolutely love it. It's it's that kind of fun mix of religious ceremony. Yeah. So you'll see the 13 Yule lads' names are awesome. The stubby, the spoon licker, the pot licker, the bowl licker, the door slammer, the skier, which is their yogurt, a skier gobbler, a sausage swiper, window peeper, creepy, Doorway Sniffer, more creepy. Meat Hook, we don't even ask. Candle Stealer, and that's Grilla. And then Lapahondi is the father, who is really kind of a do-nothing. But
That's the cat?
No, that's the father. That's the cat.
The cat. What?
There's so many drawings of the cat. I have a cat, the Icelandic Christmas cat, on my refrigerator, a magnet from that. It's hilarious because
Fun
there's
fact,
all these
the
different
Google
drawings,
search of
but
the
it's
cat
always
is very violent.
giant and creepy.
It's violent. You
Yeah,
had to.
that was like the most friendly one that I found. Like they're pretty violent.
Oh yeah, they're exceedingly. They have books of their old folklore. So that is the giant church that is in the downtown. That is absolutely beautiful, and it's right at sort of atop of a hill that you can overlook all of downtown Reykjavik.
With the giant organ inside of it. That looks. I mean, it looks like that's Nazgul territory.
Yeah, I was about to say it looks very Lord of the Rings. It isn't actually that color. It's just white, but absolutely, yeah. If anybody ever wanted to do something where you're like,
What
I
made
want to
you start doing that? I mean, we wanted to hit the Blue Lagoon and all that awesome stuff. I have a friend that goes to look at the Northern Lights every year. Was that a part of it for you? Because your accent's great. I mean, I couldn't even, I go to Italy, I pick up a few things, and in Scotland, I pick up a few things like, and how did you get it?
I've been there 3 different times.
Oh, wow.
I would be back there this year if it wasn't 2020.
Wow.
It's just the people are amazing. Like they're just their way of life and just the way they operate. It is just literally the most beautiful country. Like you can put a cup in any river in the whole country and you can drink straight from it. It is the cleanest, clearest. Like do you know that the whole country is basically powered by geoelectric?
Yes.
So it's all hot water powered. So they have pools in all their neighborhoods and they're all geothermal. So there are hot water spring pools everywhere, but your house will all you can take the longest, hottest shower you ever have in your life because it's all geothermal.
Wow.
So all their power plant, the runoff from their power plant is a spa. So the runoff is this hot water and a sort of white crystallized mud, and it's a spa. So
wow. I can see you there. Like for some reason, I really have no problem putting you there in my imagination.
The funny part is like their bars and restaurants. I mean, it's very European, but then they have these American style bar. They have the Chuck Norris bar. They have Tommy. You would love the Chuck Norris bar. They have the Big Lebowski bar.
I've never been there.
We went to the Lebowski bar, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll spend $14 on a whatever it is, White Russian." Sure, absolutely, totally down for
It's a beverage here, dude. There's a beverage here.
Yeah. So it's just great. And Christmas Eve is a big festival where they get out and they just want to be around other people and sort of, the closeness to it. So that night, all stores open. We'll stay open till like midnight, and they just want people to congregate and, sort of be around friends and family. So
Evan, I have a question. This clearly has made a huge impression on you. Mm-hmm. Do you bring any of these traditions home?
For me, yes, I always give books now. For my family, especially. So because there's something everybody can enjoy in a book, and especially in the world we're living in now, go to your local bookstore and pick up books. I mean, they're like, luckily Nashville's got some really cool bookstores, but the one I went to do my shopping, before it opened, there was a line outside because it is one of those sort of, when there used to be a bookstore like every couple miles or whatever, it wasn't that important. But now these places, they get really cool authors to come in, and they, like it's something it's one of those things that's lost. When you can order it with a click on your phone or something, there's something just different about going and talking to the people who know books and, really know literature and being like, all right, what's really grabbed you this year? Or, what's absolutely stunning visually that people, would love to have and love to pick up.
That's really cool, man. That's an awesome thing to do.
It's just, it sounds dumb and dorky, but everybody like has something that they have that kind of peak interest in. And when they're like, oh, cool, a book, and then they start looking through it or they start reading about the story, they're like, that's cool. That's really cool, especially in a year like 2020 when we could get sucked into scrolling all day, or we could put on Netflix and just sort of doze out. But it's really cool to like go through and find a book either that just totally sucks you in, or something that just has imagery or photography or drawings or whatever that, you know, really get to people.
Evan, I have a Star Wars tattoo on my arm, and I watch 4 different pro wrestling shows a week. You don't got to talk to me about geeky and weird.
Maybe we ought to talk
I'm in.
about
I'm
reading.
in.
Well, with that, and kind of teleporting us to another world, because 2020 was full of challenges. You know, the holiday season's nice. We got Christmas coming up. We've almost made it. But it also means we almost made it through this whole year. We're almost at the end. This is it. We get to say goodbye to this and have some optimism for whatever is going to happen next. A lot of new stuff on the horizon. We've got some good vaccine news that the world of science has provided us. But Lacey, I want to kick it over to you to send us off with a kind of a kiss-off cocktail. I know we're all going to like some bubbles for when we ring in the new year. And just kind of one final wrap-up and a way for us to all send the year off in style. What do you got for round 2?
Well, I call this naked and bubbly, because how else should you start the new year, right? So, very simple. Contains my favorite ingredients: scotch, honey, and lemon. Disregard the fact that I do not have ice because my kitchen is still being remodeled, but we're going to give it a go. So, we're going to start off with Naked Grouse, beautiful blended malt whiskey. We're going to use 1.5 ounces. Normally we would have ice in here. So if you'd like to make this at home, please. Now I have some honey. Do a bar spoon of honey. Put that in there. I have half a lemon. Normally we'd give, like I said, we'd give this a stir with some ice. We have to forego that. Okay.
Evan's providing the sound of ice for us. Oh, I'm right there. See, Lacey?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, I would probably put this in a coupe or something. Again, my kitchen. So we're going to strain. Then take a little bit of bubbly. Top that off.
I
Beautiful.
love they
This.
throw in like whiskey and champagne cocktails all the time. Like what I would never think to do that until you started showing me to. It's okay, Jeremy.
Naked and bubbly.
Look, scotch can be bougie. It's fine.
I love it.
Well, cheers.
Cheers to a brighter 2021.
Indeed.
Well, thank you so much, guys. That was really nice. I hope we can get back together again in the new year.
Tommy, did you want to lead us in a toast?
Lead us in a toast. Yeah, absolutely. Let me.
Well, you wanted to say some closing words regarding the year of our Lord, 2020.
Yeah, I just thought that it'd be. I mean, we're talking about the new year. Just what you guys feel like. What any silver linings for you guys that you got this year? I mean, yeah, it's brutal. You know, like we've been home, we've been trapped in the house. It's today marked the day that indoor dining in New York closed again, and it's awful and it's heartbreaking. And I've seen so many close friends just be hurt and then be down. But if you get out of the negative stuff on it, like a lot of cool stuff has stemmed from this broadcast just being one of them. You know, I wasn't as close with any of you prior to this, and it wouldn't have happened if COVID didn't happen. So just to hear
when
about
we all get together again, I feel like we really need to do like a speakeasy hangout. You know,
In person.
Yeah, just like, hey, the speakeasy people are meeting up at 5 over at this table, and we just need to, do our own thing for a couple hours.
And it's so cool. Like I've become friends with you guys and not just coworkers through virtual experiences, and I've learned so much more about you guys. And it's awesome, So there are some silver linings, like creativity has shined in this time, Bougie champagne cocktails have shined in Jeremy's house, courtesy of Lacey. I've gotten to spend a ton of time with my daughter and my pregnant wife, which wouldn't have happened even with our awesome company's setup of how we're able to take paternity leave. I probably wouldn't have taken it, So it just, there's some cool stuff with 2020, and I can't wait for 2021 to get back to normal and get back into the bars and doing our thing and people not being sick and people being healthy. But for the grand scheme of it, I just wanted to say thank you for all of you guys for putting in the work for the Digital Speakeasy and making this a really cool place to be and having a lot of fun in a really tough time.
And raising some money for a wonderful cause.
Indeed. And raising a good amount of money for the World Central Kitchen, doing God's work out there. So that's all. That's all I wanted to say.
World Central Kitchen.
Can't say it any better than that. Jeremy, thank you so much. Happy holidays, Tommy, Evan, Lacey, Mr. Elf.
Shanna, thank you.
It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to spend this hour with you. Appreciate you all very much. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And hopefully we'll see each other in real life next year.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.